That's the tornado right here, fellas. This is it.
Look at it. Right down there. What's going on right there? Look at it, guys. Look, look.
Look at that.
What? Oh my God. This is real scary.
This videotape is less a look back at a disaster and more about how, when faced with terrible trauma, the people of Nashville and Middle Tennessee triumphed. I'm Demetria Kaladimos.
And I'm Dan Miller. April 16, 1998 will become an historic date for Tennessee. Here at Channel 4, we'll remember it as the day we stayed on the air nonstop and commercial-free for 17 straight hours, tracking tornado after tornado across 30 counties. 2 tornadoes tore straight through Nashville, strafing Sylvan Park, Charlotte Avenue, East Nashville, and Hermitage.
Because so many of you were trying to survive the storm and then deal with its aftermath, we've put this tape together to commemorate that day and document the days that followed. As you watch, look beyond the destruction and feel the compassion of our neighbors. The tornadoes left buildings broken but could not shatter the spirits of our communities.
The storms started early. The first severe weather warning, April 16th, went up before dawn, the deadliest time for a storm to strike because victims are often sleeping and unaware of the danger. Channel 4 weathercasters were on the air nonstop from that moment forward.
That's right, Dan. The storm cell formed overnight, ripping through Arkansas and West Tennessee.
People in Dyer County in West Tennessee were still asleep when the tornado moved into their county. Damage in that county alone was estimated at more than $250,000. One Dyer County couple was killed when their mobile home was hit by the twister. The power of that storm told us a lot about what was ahead for us.
We tracked the storm here with Channel 4's live SkyMax radar as the cell moved eastward. The first direct hit, a tornado touchdown in Dixon County. More would follow.
Here was some of our initial coverage.
The whole front of the building is gone. The roof is gone.
Dixon County residents begin picking up the pieces after a tornado twists its way across Highway 46, destroying businesses and homes around 7 o'clock this morning.
We're blown away. We're trying to salvage what we can.
These antique dealers pull bits and pieces of their treasures from the rubble. Next door, bulldozers remove fallen cement blocks and other debris as crews scatter along the roof line to repair what was torn to shreds earlier. Across the highway on Nails Creek Road, home after home destroyed.
I was over here in this section where the couch is. The couch and that wall is what saved me, and I crawled out from the back, and he was stuck in the corner there. I don't know how I got out, but it happened so quick.
Despite the damage, many say they're just thankful it wasn't worse. 8 people were injured. Authorities tell us none of them serious.
They were out here within 30 minutes. The whole town was out here within 5 minutes.
A community pulling together to help those in need. In Dixon County, Holly Thompson, Channel 4 News.
I was at work down here in American Limestone. I heard it on my radio.
Ricky Trauber was among dozens of parents who rushed to Joe Burns School in Robertson County after hearing a storm had just hit.
I heard it's okay from WDBL News, and they said everything was fine. So that was a relief? Yes, big relief.
We was in the hallway, dumped our head, and the tornado came right over us.
Were you scared?
No, I just cried and prayed to Jesus.
It was about 10:30 this morning. Many of the lower grade students had just gone to the cafeteria to begin lunch. Then came the storm warning, and then sections of the metal roof began just peeling away.
It was a short, intense storm, high winds, tearing up the roof, snapping trees and power lines, structural damage all over the school. And during it all, Students were safe inside.
We just went into the emergency evacuation mode about 10 minutes before it hit, and we just did the right thing at the right time.
We got them out in the hall, we got their heads down against the walls, and we all prayed a lot.
I don't know, I was just sitting there crying and praying as hard as I could. I had no idea, but we're really lucky. I think we really are lucky, so.
And quick thinking that kept one Middle Tennessee school community safe when deadly weather rolled in. Mike Maychak, Channel 4 News.
On and on the storms formed. We raised alert after alert. Then around noon, an extremely heavy cell formed near Waverly and Humphreys County. It would never fall apart.
3 hours later, it was at Nashville's doorstep, gaining size and power along the way. The severe weather moved into Davidson County around 3:30.
WSMV, located on Nashville's west side on top of Nob Hill, found itself directly beneath the growing storm. We evacuated most of our station staff to the basement and to the safe hallways. While on air, we kept going.
This looks very ominous. This is the roof camera here at Channel 4.
Can we pan around to see, let me think, Nancy, that would be to our north, very likely. Can we just pan around and see what we're seeing here? Definitely the winds are picking up. I'm going to dial up the WSMV weather station, which is immediately outside the building here. It'll tell us what the winds
in Richland, Green Hills, the heart of Nashville, Berry Hill, Woodbine, you can see very clearly here on our roof cam why we're getting the kind of warning we're getting right now.
Our doors are blowing open. These are very heavy studio doors, so we're definitely seeing some pressure changes in here.
By all means.
We have a very large tower. Kevin, from Emergency Management Agency in Davidson County?
Yes, sir.
What do you have to tell us, sir?
Well, we've had reports for the past 10 minutes of golf ball-sized hail in the Buena Vista Pike, Clarksville Pike area, as well as Trinity Lane.
Everybody needs to take cover now.
Area, moving east.
We are seeing intense winds blowing right now, right outside our studio.
Berry Hill, take cover. Woodbine, take cover. Glencliff, Glenview, take cover right now.
We are seeing what appears to be extremely strong winds right now. I'm seeing 56-mile-an-hour winds.
This is now passing over the top of...
Okay, we're back on the air. That confirms that we do have audio. We are back on the air now.
Folks who need to take cover right now, Green Hills, take cover. This is headed your way within a couple of minutes, if not already. The heart of Nashville, downtown Nashville, take cover immediately.
Go ahead, Matt. We can hear you. You're on the air.
Okay, I just saw a small funnel touch down on 40 eastbound, heading towards Nashville. I saw it rip off the roof of a building. It's blowing debris all over the place. It may have picked up, but it is heading towards downtown Nashville.
Look at that. Look at crane. Look at that crane fell over top. Guys, yeah, we're okay. We're okay. We ain't in a good spot up here. I'll tell you that. Hey, so you getting it? Look at it. You getting it? Yeah. Hey, come here, man. Hey.
Look! Oh my God! This is real scary. Everybody's been afraid of a tornado. You don't see a funnel, do you?
I don't know. I'm waiting for one. Hey, man, check it out.
Is that one there?
That's it.
Is that it? There's one.
There it is. Listen to it. That's what's going on, guys. Yeah, where's it going? Get in, get in.
Shut the car off?
Yes.
Get away from the glass.
That's a tornado?
Yes, it is.
Look at it.
Yeah, look at that. Sure is. Check it out. There it is, right there. See it? Get your video going. That's it.
You see it?
Yeah. That's it. It's going right through there, right downtown.
Oh my God. I hope it doesn't touch down.
Get away from the glass. Get away from the glass, Trace. It's a tornado. Check it out.
911. Yes, ma'am. A big old tree just fell over the old A big old tree just did what? It fell on the house. Okay, where? It's on the corner of 14th and Shelby. Police emergency.
This is Dennis Hanson, Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle. We got hit really hard with this tornado.
Okay, what's your address?
1030 Charlotte, 11th and Charlotte.
Okay, ambulance on the way. 911 Crafton.
Yes, my name is Carl. I just saw some cloud get down over the Opry Man parking lot. I don't know which way it's going now, but it looked like it changed direction. It was heading northwest, but I don't know where it is now.
Dan, I'm at First and Broad. You talked a little bit about the damage or the delays that will be on the stadium project. If you take a look behind me, you can see exactly why. Much of that new construction looks like a bunch of matchsticks from where we're standing right now. We also had some video that was taken of the downtown earlier. As we go to that, we'll show you a little bit of what the downtown area looks like. This area is around the Memorial Street Bridge on North 1st Street. A construction company's roof basically wrapped around a utility pole that's insulation spread across the street. Part of that roof also hit some cars over in the Woodland Street area and caused those cars to wreck. We're told in that parking lot, several trucks overturned. This is inside the building. Workers say it was around 3:30 this afternoon. Some of them were getting ready to get off work when the storm hit.
I was getting ready to get in the truck and go home. About that time it come across town and it started swirling, and then all of a sudden it got over at the bridge, it changed path. Come right down through here. We ran. I mean, to tell you, we ran. Because it wasn't no two ways about it. We ran. And we got back in the back part of the building, and it didn't last but, I guess 20 seconds or so, and it just tore this whole thing up. And
you actually saw it?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
what it looked like.
Just a big old swirl of white clouds and a wind blowing, and it just made just like a complete circle. It just made a circle come right through here.
Just like you see pictures of it on TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I started my truck, and I saw that one coming. I hit my rear end, boy. I guarantee you that.
Created a scare, but fortunately no one was hurt. And of course, farther into the downtown area as we saw several vehicles with the windows blown out. Some vehicles had tires blown out. A lot of people got off of work later this afternoon and walked out to their cars only to find that there was a lot of damage going on. We talked to this particular woman. She basically came out of the courthouse and was actually caught up in her vehicle at some point when the storm hit. She told us it was a very, very frightening situation for her.
The wind was blowing and the rain was coming, and I pulled over behind another car, and another car pulled over in front of me. And I was sitting there, and it was blowing and blowing, and all of a sudden it just picked me up between the two cars and just airborne and flipped me over. I bounced on my driver's side and then on my roof, and then I ended up right side up, and it just kept blowing, and I kept thinking, it's going to do it again, it's going to do it again, and I just kept holding on and saying, please make it stop. And then it stopped, and I just sat there for a while because I was afraid it would start it again. If it was going to pick up my car, it was going to pick me up. So I just stayed in it, and basically that's all that happened.
This is the parking area right across from the police station. We heard Governor Don Sundquist basically say that, in a sense, we're fortunate that it didn't hit at a time when people were getting off from work. Well, this is debris, brick, cinder blocks, just a whole stuff from buildings that basically collapsed on cars. And here we have a whole row of cars that were actually destroyed, their glass shattered, a lot of vehicle damage, and it's just amazing, Dan, that people were not in those vehicles when it hit, because it could have been just a very terrible situation. We talked with people who were afraid after it hit the first time around 3:30 or so this afternoon to leave the buildings and to come back out into the streets and into their cars. At times, while we were here, we actually got word that another one was about to hit in the downtown area, and people were basically staying inside the buildings. They were running into staircases. We were actually at the Metro Police Department when one incident happened, and people just basically stayed in the staircase for several minutes because they didn't know whether it was going to hit again. It was a pretty frightening situation for a lot of people in the downtown area. Of course, street signs are down, and a lot of traffic lights are out, and that also caused a lot of traffic delays for people who were trying to get home after work this afternoon. Terry Dorsey has been keeping an eye on the situation in East Nashville, and she joins us with more on that.
Ava, over in East Nashville, one of the main things that they're concerned about is gas, because there were gas leaks in a lot of the buildings that were destroyed. From downtown Nashville, the storm apparently blew over the top of the stadium, and I think our photographer, Matt King, is going to try to give you some idea about what that looks like. It blew out a lot of the structure in a corner up there. Then it went on down across the river into the Russell Street area, Main Street area, Shelby Street. A lot of the historical homes over there are damaged, and we have some tape of what the scene looked like at Main Street, where they had it closed off because of the fear of gas leaks.
Ma'am, do you want to join us in here?
In East Nashville, the storm ripped off rooftops on Main Street and snapped utility poles down. In a medical clinic filled with children, the doctor said they heard the building begin to blow, but the children were safe.
There was some fright, but everyone was pretty well safe there. And after the storm passed, we got outside, discovered there was a gas leak at our buildings.
Then the second wave hit.
Joe, lead them around. Lead them over, Joe.
And the children were herded from one shelter to another.
Let's go. Ma'am, if you want to get inside, let's go. Let's get inside.
Main Street still remained closed because of gas leaks in some of the damaged buildings. One of the problems over there is there are live wires down everywhere. Many of them were not live when I was over there because the power is out everywhere. But as the power is restored, the area is extremely unsafe, and homeowners are trying to pick their way home and see the damage if they can get through to there. It's very difficult to get across town. And unfortunately, one of those homeowners who was hit was me. I live on Russell Street, and my house was hit, and a very historic church at the corner of 9th and Russell, the Russell Street Church of Christ, was heavily damaged with stained glass windows blown out, and the tower toppled, and it's just really sad to see over there.
You have seen your house, Terry.
And I don't have an earpiece, so I can't hear anything you're asking.
He said, how are things in your house?
The windows are blown out. We're a little worried about gas. There's a garage in back where everything is blown off and trees are down everywhere, but we could probably sleep there tonight.
Ava, can you have the photographer there get a shot of the stadium again behind you?
Yes, we can. Matt, if you'll give us another shot of the stadium. And again, Dan, it does look like, from where we're standing, that it looks just like a bunch of matchsticks. And I heard you talking earlier about there being delays on the project because of this storm.
They said it would be a 2-week delay, and they said 3 of the 4 of those huge cranes toppled into the center of the stadium, and that at least 3 of the construction trailers there were heavily damaged. But I suppose the good news is nobody was injured. They said that everybody was safe, and that it will be a 2-week delay in construction. But it just gives you, we heard someone say that the beams or some part of the structure was flying around like popsicle sticks when that storm moved across the new stadium being built right there.
Terry was actually fortunate enough to speak with a guy who was actually working on that building when it actually hit. What did he tell you?
He said that he was on the corner that appears to be the most damaged, And he said that what we're looking at up there is the wood framing where they were pouring the concrete, that so far from what they can tell that the structure of the stadium isn't damaged, but all the cranes that they were using to build the stadium were heavily damaged. He says that he is amazed he's alive. He said that they were all working up very high. They could see the storm moving over the top of Nashville. They could actually see the debris billowing up into the air, and they can't believe that they were evacuated and that they got down safely. He was still in a little bit of a shock with the scratch on his face and still not really realizing exactly what he had survived.
One of the things that was most symbolic that we noticed this afternoon, this storm hit in the middle of the day in the middle of the state of Tennessee and ripped out literally the middle of the Tennessee flag. The stars right out of the center flag you see that flies on the state capitol. If there is a picture that is symbolic of what happened this afternoon, perhaps that is it.
Right out of the heart of Nashville and the heart of the flag. Well, how are things downtown right now, Demetria?
Again, the traffic that is trying to make it out of town down Charlotte here is moving extremely slowly. From time to time, more emergency vehicles are moving through, presumably to gain access to the interstates and other areas. People are being patient as best they can. A lot of the workers are leaving the offices that have shattered windows and damaged cars in the parking lots. So all in all, things are moving slowly here, but it seems that folks are fairly calm.
And we're going to go to Dorinda Carter downtown. Dorinda, you there?
Yeah, Dan, right now, as you know, downtown Nashville has been closed to the public. Police are here sort of monitoring the situation, making sure everyone stays away from the buildings, that there is no looting going on here. It's like a ghost town right now. And that's basically how much of Nashville, the areas that were hit by the tornado, were today. People just did not believe that this was happening, and no one ever remembers a tornado hitting the center of downtown Nashville. Let's go ahead and show you what we saw from East Nashville earlier today. At TEMA headquarters, they ran to get a closer look.
We got a funnel out here, I think, John. Right there.
Yeah.
One there. We saw that one just suddenly develop, and we don't know what's in there, but that one by itself. That just happened 2 hours ago. And I saw debris in the air over there.
No one could believe it.
There it is, right there. Right there.
Downed trees and power lines, roofs blown off homes, sent residents of East Nashville running.
And I saw like clouds like moving like in a swirl, like, you know, and I was like, hey, y'all, get out of here, there's a tornado. And I pulled out and we prayed and just took off that way, and we could see just stuff like just lifting up.
And they could hear it coming.
Just like getting, it was starting to get loud and stuff. First we heard a boom, like over there, we heard like boom, boom. Like.
It was a frustrating day for this couple. Eddie and Linda McClure walked for miles trying to get to their children. Everywhere they turned, trees and live wires blocked the roads.
We've been walking for about 2 miles trying to get home, see if the kids are okay and stuff. Everybody's phones are down, everything's down. There's trees all over, and looks like it's starting up again.
Emergency crews ran into much of the same problem trying to get around.
I can't even get in my driveway.
Over at Cornelia Fort Airport, all but 2 of nearly 40 mostly Cessna airplanes were picked up, tossed upside down, and flattened. One landed in the back of a pickup truck. Another belonged to Grand Ole Opry performer Mike Snyder.
My airplane weighs about 1,500 pounds, something like that, and it just had it up in the air, twisting it around and just flopped it down. I sure did love it, and I hate to see it go, but I got insurance.
At Gaylord Entertainment Company, the headquarters of the Grand Ole Opry, the tornado shattered the front side of the building on Briley Parkway, shattering windows, throwing debris, including a refrigerator, out into the street and damaging cars. Somehow, no one is hurt.
I lived in Louisiana for 20 years and lived through many hurricanes, and I think I would rather go through a hurricane than another tornado. They're different. They're fast.
Okay, right now we're at the corner of 5th and Broad, and you can see what remains of one of the buildings here behind me. the tornado hit today. The bricks now scattered on the sidewalk and in the middle of the street. Again, downtown Nashville has been closed to the public. Traffic's not being allowed down here. Police are not allowing anyone to come to downtown Nashville. The mayor says he hopes to have officials down here sometime tomorrow afternoon to survey the damage, to begin the cleanup. Again, they say no one can recall a tornado ever hitting the center of downtown Nashville. He's urging businesses to remain closed tomorrow because it is unsafe down here. There are several gas leaks. Many of these buildings and some of the walkways are unstable. There are live wires, many problems down here, and many good reasons why people should stay away. City and state offices also, as we've reported, will be closed. So there's no need to come to downtown Nashville. You won't be able to get here, and if you do try, they'll immediately turn you away. There are some people walking around kind of sightseeing, trying to look at some of the damage, because many of the skyscrapers, the high-rise buildings in downtown Nashville were damaged, several of the windows shattered. Dan, it's just unlike the center of Music City that we're all used to, that it's just nothing we've ever seen before.
It is just incredible. You be careful. Thank you, Dorinda Carter. Let's go to Dimitri. Where are you and what's going on?
Dan, I'm at 2nd and Gay, which is near the Sheriff's Department headquarters and Fire Engine Company number 2. Both buildings sustained quite a bit of damage, and what you see behind me are the hottest commodities in town tonight. That is plywood, able bodies, and backhoes. The only thing missing out here are chainsaws, which we could probably use as well. I've seen quite a bit of crews out already putting up sheets of plywood over missing windows. They are just shoveling cinder block and debris away here from the Sheriff's Department. One note, the only car left in the parking lot tonight belongs to Sheriff Gail Ray. I don't know if it's been damaged or not, but I'm wondering where the sheriff is or how she got home tonight. She probably had to hitch a ride. But it's pretty busy down here, and it's busy actually all over downtown. However, people that are interested in coming down and looking at the damage, don't even try it. You won't get by Metro Police that are posted at every significant intersection. So as the mayor said earlier tonight, do not attempt to sightsee, and don't even think about looting, because police are posted all over this city.
How big an area is cordoned off right now? Do we know?
I'm not really sure. There are various areas over near the Church Street Center and Renaissance Hotel, that walkway that goes over the road there. I know they've got that cordoned off because the floor literally fell out. Right here we've got yellow tape around this area just because there's so much debris. We had to step over quite a bit of it just to get to this spot. And other places in town where there is a risk of falling glass or other debris from a few stories up, people are being kept away from that, and traffic as well.
Is glass still falling? Do we know that?
I haven't heard any, but there's plenty of it on the ground as you step around, and there just seems to be some stuff precariously dangling, Dan. So, you know, one gust of wind and some of it could go flying.
Okay, and everybody that we see around you there is supposed to be there, right?
Pardon me, Dan?
The people we see all around you, these are official people who are supposed to be there, right?
Yeah, and actually some of them are prisoners. We are at the Sheriff's Department after all, and they've got a captive labor force here, and they're putting it to good use tonight. Of course, it'll be dawn before city officials really know what they're dealing with. There is simply no way to put a dollar figure, an estimate on the damage until they can see it all. At about 8:15 tonight, the mayor, the police chief, and the fire chief met with the media. Here's what the mayor had to say.
The downtown area is really unsafe at this point. There are a lot of things hanging from buildings, windows that are partially out of their frames up on buildings, and a lot of concern about the possibility of things falling. In addition, as I said, about 2/3 of the downtown is without power at this point. I've talked with the governor. He is closing the state offices in the downtown area tomorrow. We are closing the metro offices in the downtown area. And I would like to request businesses that operate in the downtown area, unless it's absolutely necessary for the security of those businesses, to close their operations tomorrow. You're not likely to have power. There are real safety issues with the buildings in the downtown area, and we'll have a much better idea by tomorrow noon or mid-afternoon about the extent of the damage and how long it will take to clean up.
Where were you, Mayor?
I was in my office, and looking out the window, and all of a sudden everything started going horizontal. And actually watched the windows of several cars being blown out as I watched. I mean, looking at a car, and all of a sudden there were no more windows in it anymore. From what I've seen, the city has been very, very well prepared. There's obviously no predicting this, but certainly police and fire responded instantly. The Office of Emergency Management was able to open up the Emergency Operations Center very quickly. It's proving very effective at this point, and I feel good about the preparation. As with any...
Dan, a little story to pass along. The mayor told me that he got an almost immediate call from the vice president, Al Gore, and was on the phone with him when the second wave of storms went through and said, Al, sorry, gotta go. He hung up on the vice president. The work that you're seeing behind me is going on by benefit of our television lights and also the headlights from trucks, because everything is still dark out here downtown.
The severe storms continued in Nashville and across Middle Tennessee throughout the evening. In fact, 200 warnings and watches were issued for Middle Tennessee by the National Weather Service on April 16th. 106 of those were tornado warnings.
Bowling Green, Kentucky suffered millions of dollars in hail damage. Pickett County was slammed. And more storms were firing up on the South Tennessee border. Wayne and Lawrence counties were in trouble.
Unbelievably, Nashville has escaped without a single death. Wayne County would not be as lucky.
Okay, we're still getting reports from the public that, and from the authorities that a tornado does exist on the ground in the northwestern corner of Lawrence County. Now they're saying Cruz Road and Hudson Road. Again, we're still waiting to hear information from the public in those areas. So just stay with us. We're going to take a break from it for a moment and gather our eggs back in our basket today, and we'll be back with this to tell you what else we want.
Folks, let's see it.
Nobody could know how bad it had really been. Phone lines were out, roads were closed overnight. Dawn, Friday, April 17th, a Channel 4 helicopter crew witnessed the size and depth of the damage. It was worse than anyone knew.
Flying over Nashville, you couldn't miss the destruction. Thousands of broken windows in downtown Nashville skyscrapers. The construction cranes at the new downtown stadium crumpled like toys. Nearly everywhere you looked were uprooted trees and down power lines. And in East Nashville, the worst damage.
schools, churches, and homes destroyed, and hundreds upon hundreds of trees lost.
The extent of the damage and the fact that no one died here amazed everyone who saw it.
From the air, the view was much more dramatic.
I am absolutely astounded that there's not more injuries or deaths in that area. I mean, it's amazing. There are major power towers down, power lines down everywhere, trees knocked down just everywhere, lots of roofs off houses.
After flying over the area by helicopter, Mayor Phil Bredesen says he doesn't understand how Nashville escaped the way it did. As the cleanup begins, the mayor and police chief warn residents to beware of scam artists.
I've already heard that there are crews going around now asking to cut trees that are down. And I think you just have to be very careful and make sure that these people are legit.
Mayor Bredesen is hoping to come up with a plan today to prevent con artists from benefiting from the destruction.
We're going to have to try to set something up that helps to prevent some of these things from happening. We don't want people to lose their homes because they signed some piece of paper, under duress. Particularly, I mean, in the area that's hardest hit in East Nashville, there are a lot of elderly people who live in that area who are just absolute targets for these kinds of scam artists.
And while police tried to keep people out of downtown and neighborhoods where they didn't belong, officers arrested 3 people overnight for looting. But the mayor says most folks are helping each other get through the storm. Bredesen says he's been impressed with the way the city has responded to the devastation.
What they're doing is putting their arms around their neighbors and saying we're sorry and how can we help.
Dorinda Carter, Channel 4 News.
At first, the wreckage of a tornado can seem more fascinating than terrible. In Bobby Allen's home, the wind tore an oil painting out of a frame, peeled off paint, but the frame was still on the wall. The fascination seems to disappear when it's time to pick up the pieces.
Look at all these things. I know y'all sweeping it up, and I had a pair of these.
On another block, the Wildeboers marveled that a huge air conditioner crashed into their house but didn't destroy it. It made the rest of the damage less noticeable.
The roof's going to leak, I think, but we'll make it up.
The leaves were just crumbled, just like they've been through something pulverized. They're just, it's amazing what it has done.
Today, their neighbors could see the destruction on their block and think about what they didn't lose yesterday.
You look at the damage and you're thankful you're alive and that your kids are all okay.
On the day after the storm, survivors could not only feel the community's support, they could hear it. Today, East Nashville residents seem to have the support of the whole nation. Even the vice president was coming to visit.
You feel isolated, and I think it's important to have recognition from a national level that you've been through something horrible. And
today, there was still excitement about what was spared. But for those who will live with the aftermath, tomorrow and the weeks ahead, the wreckage will become not fascinating, just devastating. In East Nashville, Terry Dorsey, Channel 4 News.
The neighborhoods were familiar, the destruction was not.
And we found
Vice President Al Gore walked through the same East Nashville neighborhoods that he may have reported on some 25 years ago as a journalist. This time he returned to view tornado-toppled trees and battered houses.
Even seeing these places that are so familiar to me on television brought a flood of emotions to me.
His first stop was in the Eastland area, a boarded-up nursing home.
Everybody's got a lot of questions and they're really worried. So
Yeah.
we're really glad you're here.
Well, bless your heart. All the best to you.
He heard stories of survival.
Did it make a lot of noise?
It was just a big roar. It was like heard of elephants and airplanes and everything.
Yeah, I heard a big roar.
Are you looking up roofing companies in the Yelp paper?
Actually, I was looking at my insurance agent.
And in the Edgefield community, bypassing downed power lines and debris-littered streets, Gore broke away from the pack to find out how these men stayed alive during the storm.
And they heard the noise, and they jumped in that freezer there that's all secure.
One East Nashville woman says it's about time her community gets some attention. She believes flying debris downtown made better headlines.
It's horrible over here. It's a war zone.
But while Gore may not be calling in the troops, he is asking that 14 federal emergency teams come to the city and other hard-hit areas of Tennessee to survey the damage. It could lead to much-needed federal assistance. Cassandra Finch, Channel 4 News.
It's easy to see why you should still stay away from downtown Nashville. Traffic lights are out, some roads are closed, it's confusing and unsafe. Broken glass from shattered buildings and smashed and overturned vehicles still litter many parking lots.
They're trying to get trees out of the road.
Cleanup is a hard and painful task for Karen Varello. She nurtured many of the splintered, snapped, and uprooted trees now strewn across the Capitol lawn.
45 so far we've counted, but of course we hadn't been around the whole Capitol building yet, and it's a lot of acreage.
Downtown businesses are also adding up the costs. This Shoney's will be closed for 3 days.
On the top of the roof, there's about an 8-foot by 8-foot span that is completely out.
This nearby furniture store didn't fare much better.
It just threw furniture every direction it could, and it was loud, it was noisy, and then it got quiet, and this is what we have.
An insurance agent and tornado sale could help cut their losses. On Lower Broad, buildings slated to be restored were not spared. Uncle Billy was working to turn this old structure into a country music museum.
I leased the buildings. I signed the lease, and here I got it. But we're going to put it all back together, you know. Can't keep a good man down.
For many people here, starting over is what the day after tornadoes is all about.
I feel like we've been damaged, you know, but it could be a lot worse. A lot more people could be dead and hurt, and I'm thankful to the Lord we're not.
Ava Filson, Channel 4 News.
The cleanup and recovery efforts were going on all over the state. That included Wayne, Lawrence, and Murray counties.
Weather experts say on their scale, an F5 twister is the most dangerous, and the one that began in Wayne County was an F4. From the air, it was clear that this was a devastating tornado.
The beautiful spring green hills west of Nashville are littered with heartache. Houses smashed and smeared across fields, others lifted off their foundations. Sometimes it's impossible to tell the debris of one house from another. 125 homes in Murray County destroyed, one of the worst areas, Culleoka. 2 Amish communities in Etheridge and in Hohenwald both lost buildings. This is Lawrence County, the Greenwood community. A bulldozer clears debris so cars can get through. The debris was a house where 9 children ran for their lives.
The house is right there. That was the house. That was the porch. Her house is in the field over there. It's over there. See where the carpet's at? There's nothing. There's nothing. There was 9 kids here last night.
They sent their kids here thinking it was safer than in nearby Piney. Then the kids, ages 2 months to 16 years, saw the clouds turning. Melissa Emerson felt the roof lift off, ran outside and held onto a tree. The roots ripped out of the ground.
The roots started letting go on us, and I was holding on like this right here, and everything else, it was kind of hard.
Not one of the children was hurt. The rest of the state was not so lucky. In southern Wayne County, 3 people died. A total of 7 were killed as tornadoes battered the state from west to east.
From the air, you can see a pattern in the storm that you can't see from the ground. The way the trees fell, you can almost tell the swirling motion of the wind.
Governor Don Sundquist toured Nashville and Dixon County by helicopter. He gave TEMA and the media credit for the early warnings that convinced people, including his own family, to take shelter.
No question, the television coverage saved lives. There's no question about it.
Nancy Amons, Channel 4 News, Lawrence County.
Ed Martin can't shake the memory of the first thing he saw after Thursday's tornado hit.
And when we got here, the 5 members of the family were laying out in the yard.
One of those, 8-year-old Allison Barnett, remains in critical condition at Vanderbilt Hospital. Her 3rd grade picture part of the rubble in front of her home. A home that is now across the street.
And we sincerely believe that it was picked up, turned upside down, then slammed on the ground, and they went out in the process.
There's all kinds of clothes here. I'm just trying to salvage what I can.
Witnesses say the tornado had the intensity and sound of a freight train. something that Tennessee Southern didn't have this morning as it gingerly made its way through the torn-up town.
Most of what you see behind me is or was Ticetown. It's just a 2-block stretch along Old Highway 373, population 40. So when people here say everyone knows everyone, they mean it.
I came out, I looked around and thought, why, you know?
That wasn't the only question. How was another one. How did 2 tractor trailers get turned on their side? Margie Davidson stood outside her home and wondered how too.
How am I still alive and in there? Because I was in there when this happened.
Others looked up for answers into the gray sky that started the whole mess.
So I just thank God that we're all alive. You know, you can't replace a life. This is material stuff, you can replace it.
Right now, John Riley is not real sure how. 15 seconds of nature has changed the rest of his life.
It's hard to work 33 years in an industrial plant, retire, and everything you work for all your life, and just a matter of seconds, it's gone. You know.
No one was quite sure how Ticetown's 40 people would get through this. Still, Margie Davidson had a feeling.
We will make it one way or the other.
Terry Bulger, Channel 4 News.
I wasn't in any way prepared for what I was about to see.
It was just like the whole holler was black coming this way.
And then they came in and said, get in the hallway, here it comes.
You could just hear a Tina flying, it just like, gone.
Just like a big monster invading our neighborhood here. It was just, nothing could control it. It was just, the sky was full of it, and it was big.
And the last thing I can remember is they said, hold on and pray to God.
Some call it the mark of a monster, the scarred, twisted landscape in Wayne County, Tennessee. Despite all appearances, this is only a blip along the 60-mile path churned by Thursday's tornado. Until that day at 5 p.m., the Chalk Creek community was home to 10 families, half in brick houses, half in trailers, like the one owned by Mildred Kopus.
My trailer's in the ditch. Well, I mean, the inside was in the ditch and the frame went right down there.
That's an antique.
Yeah,
Ain't no doubt about
this
is
is
an antique.
It's
amazing.
I had a set of this, cup, saucer. I had everything of that, and that's the only thing come out. Some of them said, well, you've not really been upset. I said, I'm not going to get upset of what God does. He gave it, and he'll take it. And I asked him to take what I had and to leave my life, and he did. And I'm proud of it.
Kopus says she survived because she left her trailer and went next door to the store, owned by Dale Farmer.
She prayed the whole time. Every night when I lay down to go to sleep, I can still hear her voice praying. She was saying, you know, God, take it all, just let us live. And that's what he did.
Dale's Market should have been a safe haven, a building with a basement.
I was right here and they pushed this door too and just had braced up against it. And
Did it take all your strength?
every bit of the strength I had, because when it started coming open, that's when I looked up and said, oh God, and that's when this part here, the floor part of the store would come off. And
the monster tornado ripped away the store, taking the basement ceiling and depositing a pickup truck and piles of debris.
Like this board here, you know, subfloor, some of the subfloor come down, debris, shelves.
But it's amazing that the truck, the drink machine, all that stuff that fell down in here
did not hit this room here.
But this twister showed little mercy, spinning forward, northeast into Lawrence County.
I was curious. I wanted to see it, but I didn't want it to hit us, you know. I'd never seen a real tornado, and I wasn't really prepared for what I was about to see, that's for sure.
Bobby Long has the pictures to go with his story, pictures he captured with his home video camera.
They picked this trailer up, turned the bottom of it to me, and it come up about as high as those pine trees.
There goes the house.
You can see the flying dark debris created as the funnel disintegrates everything in its path, sucking up all of it while grinding closer and closer to Long's own community.
Then it scared me. I said, my neighbors, you know, somebody's fixing to die here if they ain't already.
Well, my wife got killed in a tornado. We're having services for her. And
The tornado in Long's home video had already snatched the life of Joyce Ann Walls, flinging her, her husband, and 2 grandsons hundreds of feet from their home.
It looks like me and great-grandpa were the worst, but we were the luckiest.
How do you mean?
Because all the other people were hurt worse, but we looked the worst because we had all the scrapes, and they had like broken bones. And David Clifford, he got hurt inside.
The hurt, scrapes, broken bones are already healing. Even the land is being cleared and patched together. But few wounds like these heal without leaving scars.
We see nature right now as beautiful. Spring's coming on after a winter, and everything's lovely and green and everything. But there for 10 minutes right here in this little part of the world, could have been the end of the world for a lot of people. And it'll be scarred, the landscape will be scarred for a generation to come, at least.
Your response was staggering. Food banks put out the call for help and hundreds of thousands of pounds of relief supplies poured in. Thousands of volunteers with chainsaws, pickups, front-end loaders, and muscle cleared trees and debris. No matter which affected area you looked at, there were neighbors, friends, and strangers lending a hand to help. For every one person we've shown on this tape helping those in need, there were thousands of others doing their part quietly away from the cameras.
And everywhere, there were stories of amazing rescues, like the downtown Nashville bar owner who pulled tourists off the street and into his building to safety as the storm hit. There were stories of heroism, teachers who stayed with students huddled in schools, our crisis counselors who calmed the frayed nerves of people who rode the storm out. The storm did not discriminate when it chose its targets.
Church members salvage what they can of these antique stained glass windows, reminders of a building built back in 1882, a building ravaged by Thursday's tornadoes.
It's devastating. It's such an old building. It survived so much.
It's one thing to come in initially on Thursday evening and see the devastation. It's quite another matter to see it just being ripped apart now.
St. Anne's Episcopal Church wasn't alone. Several Nashville churches were scarred by the storms. Here at Russell Street Church of Christ, crews assessed damages. The sanctuary now caved in.
Heartbreaking. You know, we've been going to church here a long time, and for this just to happen overnight, it's heartbreaking.
At First Church of the Nazarene, workers hit the rooftops, repairing shingles before tomorrow's services. Disaster played no favorites, trees falling on businesses, cars, churches, and homes.
This is a disaster.
Ray Hunter lives on Russell Street. He showed us his new backyard view.
The shock is gone, I think. It's just a matter of the challenge of how do you recover from here and go into the future. That's all you can do.
And it's what many Middle Tennesseans are doing, recovering.
Take the old to make the new.
We're a very strong, vibrant, growing congregation, and I don't expect this to alter that at all. If anything, we'll be even more determined.
Holly Thompson, Channel 4 News. Emotion flowed as communion wine as St. Anne's parishioners assembled for Sunday worship. Outdoors, because what's left of their sanctuary is unsafe. This is a bittersweet mixture of loss and joy. Loss of one of East Nashville's most historic churches. Joy that Thursday's tornado spared everyone's lives and some treasures.
We've been able to salvage a lot of stuff out of the building. A lot of the stained glass windows have been saved.
And everyone is okay. And
you know,
we are the church, the people are the church, and we will go on.
And so worship continued. They picked up their mud-stained hymnals and joined a processional to a tent in the parking lot. Sobs mixing in as they sing the church's one foundation. Pastor Lisa Hunt encouraging the tears, the grieving, recognizing people have lost a place where God touched their lives in particular ways.
Life gets lived in a church building. You know, your babies are born in a church building. In our tradition, we baptize babies. People are married in this building. People pray for healing from cancer and AIDS in this building. People come to touch Christ in this building.
But they will rebuild while continuing to reach out to the community, including their own members. 40% of the parishioners live within a 2-mile radius of this church. Most are still without power, without phones. Some, like Larry Brown, are without homes.
I just kept walking, you know, in shock with my mouth wide open, thinking, I can't believe this.
Homeless, but here to worship and to mourn. Said one parishioner, the church is the people, but you don't realize how much the structure itself means to you. In East Nashville, Nancy Amons, Channel 4 News.
As you watch this tape, we want to make sure you and your family know what to do whenever tornadoes are threatening your home. Whenever a tornado warning is issued for your county, you should seek shelter immediately. If you're in an automobile or a mobile home, you should move to sturdy shelter. Always remember to protect your head and eyes, and you should lie flat or crouch into a ball to make the smallest target possible. Have a flashlight and battery-operated radio handy. Remember to stay away from windows and doors. As we've seen, these are usually the first victims of the storm. In fact, the safest area is in the basement or first-floor bathroom or closet of your home. Put as many walls as you can between you and the tornado, and if possible, get under a heavy piece of furniture for extra protection.
The Red Cross was instrumental in the recovery from the April 16th tornadoes, but their work doesn't end there. No matter when you're watching this video, the Red Cross is assisting people in need somewhere, and they can always use your help helping others. You can always send your donations to the American Red Cross, 2201 Charlotte Avenue, P.O. Box 23917, Nashville, Tennessee 37202-3917. Or you can call 1-800-HELP-NOW. That's 1-800-435-7669.